evening, everyone. I'm going to try really hard not to accidentally shake my little table. Okay. So it also means trying not to lean on the table, which is going to be a little tough for me. So we have here, I'm going to turn on some more light. Yeah. This is the canvas that I primed earlier today. I used this, it's a synthetic resin ink. It's kind of in between the texture I would expect of an ink and an acrylic paint. I forgot that when it dries, it has this kind of almost matte velvety appearance. The few little puppy hairs here, got them off. So you can see, I think, sorry about the bumping. I don't know if you can see the like layering. And texture that's going on there, but my goal is just to play in those spaces. I am going to use some of these really fun colors. I think I'm going to start with quinacridone maroon. These are Rubens watercolors. They're really amazing. This is quinacridone violet. So the maroon is, of course, like a little more of a pinkish red, but I think technically you might say that the maroon is like a pinky violet almost. Anyways, I'm going to work with those together. So I'm going to put a dollop of the violet at one end of this. Let me move this so that you can see me mixing the colors here. Yeah, that's better. I probably won't get to all of these colors in this session. I'm going to let it be really flowy and abstract. Part of my goal with this piece is to break out of perfectionism a little and like the title says, it's experimental watercolor. It's experimental because I primed this canvas with something that's not specifically designed for watercolor or even to prime a canvas with. I used this synthetic, slipped my mind for a minute, the name of this uh, synthetic resin ink. So that doesn't sound like something you would normally like associate with priming a canvas with, and it's not. It's something I just I just decided it would be interesting. I had these canvases that needed to be reprimed before I could really use them efficiently, so that's what I did. I'm going to start adding some water. I'm going to focus on these spaces that I see valleys. That is where um, that resin is thinner and I can see what's going on below a little. I'm just gonna, so it is, I had said that it's in earlier posts about this, I had said that this was I love this magenta. A water resistant surface. I didn't say waterproof because I had a feeling from the way that it has this matte finish. I guess maybe I did remember that, or anyways, I didn't know if it would be 100%. I knew it wouldn't completely absorb the watercolor the way the paper does until you get a few layers in, like I've talked about in other pieces. But so I expected it to somewhat absorb the paint, but for it to mostly sit on top, and that is what I'm seeing so far. So this is just a wet on wet technique. I just went in with water to carve out the space I want to work in. And then I started dropping in these deeper pigments. I'm going to bring in some of this indigo that I've been using for this other piece. So I'm going to try not to get any of the magentas or violets into that indigo pale, but we'll see. The indigo kind of just blends right in with the black beneath it, which is kind of a neat effect. Someone might even call this, what they call a violet might even be called a deep magenta. So that kind of reinforces my theory that I've been working on so far this session, that oh, that's starting to come together now. That the magenta is really kind of a violet that's heavy on the pink side of things. I'm probably not going to use any more of that indigo in this piece because it obviously was too close to that black color and it just blends right in. And I don't know, I might end up just doing these magentas. I'll definitely just do them today, and then we'll see, where the piece is at the end of the session. I'm liking how it's starting to come together for sure. I like to do these, I call them two-tone exercises, where I pick, just like the name implies, two tones of the same color. So maybe two different kinds of purples, and one that's a little more indigo and one that's a little more violet or something like that, and doing pieces that just play with those two colors. I've never done a two-tone kind of study like this on a black canvas before, but I did find, oh, I should have added it to the list here. I did find a ground that is designed for watercolor that's supposed to mimic the effect of cold pressed watercolor paper, which is what I usually work with watercolor. And it comes in a lot of different colors, including it's called Mars Black. So I think it'll be similar to this. And I am liking this, but I kind of want to use some more of this ink to do something a little bit different. But we'll see. It kind of depends how I feel about how it holds the pigment, how it absorbs it, and how it sits on top, and how that ends up looking. No, I feel like I would like to add a little like crimson there, but I'm gonna resist the urge to I want to add some more color. I'm feeling like that two-tone study might not really be what I want to do tonight. Oh. I have a spot here that's almost clean, and yeah, it looks like the red that I was thinking of adding is too mixed in with these oranges from the other piece in that section. So I'm getting my pigments out. I'm opening the box. Hyrule Ruby Red. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. So it gets a little tricky as I start working on multiple. Oh, you know what? I have a space over here. I don't actually need to use that one. If you're working on multiple pieces at one time, then you want to kind of, that's been coming up a lot tonight, that I'm like, well, I don't want to get that color in that well because I'm not using like these magentas in that other piece right now. Probably I won't. If I did, I'd want it to be in a really controlled and intentional way, not just like, yeah. So let's add some of this Pyrrole Red and see what it does to these magentas and violets. Oh, that's very nice. I think that was needed. Yeah. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad that you're here. I'm just starting to get into a little bit of a flow state here. I'm really happy with that Pyrrole Red. I feel like that really ties that together. So this, I guess, turned into like a three-tone, a three-tone piece. We have the magenta, the violet, and the Pyrrole Red. I'm just experimenting with how this magenta and Pyrrole Red interact. Very cool. And I'm going to drop in some of the violet. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And I'm going to tip it this way a little. Beautiful. I think that Pyrrole just adds some brightness that was really needed. So I'm following the patterns I'm seeing in the texture that I made earlier when I primed this canvas in the same way that in another style that I do that as far as I know I came up with, but I, might have been influenced by something I'm not remembering. Let me know if you know the name of this or anyone else that does it, but following wood grain with the watercolor and kind of meditating on it, but also letting the natural pattern of the wood grain kind of show me where the patterns are. So I'm doing the same thing here, but with this synthetic texture that I made earlier today. So that's what I'm playing with a little with this piece. So it's abstract, very abstract, but there is, some rhyme and reason. Yeah. I'm following something, but I don't know how well you can see it, or I'm going to keep trying to explain my technique and method because that's just a big goal that I have with this channel and everything. But that's a hard decision since, visual arts, obviously visual, and sometimes it's a little funny for artists to be trying to explain them so much like with words. Like if I could say it with words, I wouldn't have to paint, but I am at a point that I also want to share my knowledge also about and also my thinking about what I'm doing. So I'm choosing to talk about it, but it's a lot of painters are not big on there's always a limit to how much you can explain your technique using words like that. And just there I started off just following, like I'd said, the texture that I already saw. And then I accidentally put too much water in that area, so I just felt like, oh, I'll just pull it down a little here, and now I've created this kind of interesting shape that was not like directly just me copying the patterns that I'm observing. So that is how, in this style, I kind of move between just following the pattern that the medium kind of carves out for me. and and then adding details as well. They often turn into landscapes, but if that happens with this piece, it's going to be probably unintentional, unless at some point I decide to like add a sun or something, but I don't think so. Okay, I thought that my baby was going to go back to sleep because this is still when she's usually napping, but I think that she heard me talking to you all. So anyways, she didn't go back to sleep. I need to go get her. Um, but it was nice hanging out with you, and I'll probably be back later tonight to keep working on this really fun piece. Let me show you a little close up real quick before I run off what I did tonight. All right, have a good night. Thank you.